you all. Good to see you as well.
Once again, thank you all for coming today. And you too, sir. Thanks so much. This is an important occasion for Mayor Adams to speak directly to the ethnic and community media outlets in New York City. We welcome your questions. Now, Mayor Adams.
Look, first of all, I'm looking forward to your questions. I want to maximize the time to allow you to speak. You know, when I became mayor, it wasn't just something that I did when I was borough president or state senator, but it went always back to my days of being a police officer. And there were different things that I noticed, and really during childhood, how my family was betrayed. Mommy was betrayed. When the mother has to work 3 jobs, my older sister was betrayed. She lost her whole childhood raising us. And I just took notes in my journal of things I wanted to fix, things I wanted to get right. And one of the most important things was this room here. You know, you were locked out. You had no seat in room 9. They actually got angry when I tried to give you a desk in room 9. You know, you went in our press conferences, in the briefings. It was as though the ethnic media didn't exist. And even during COVID, the money to advertise in your communities, because not everyone is an English speaker in the city. And so there's more than one way to say you're not invited. You don't have to put it on the sign. You just need to create barriers. And we dismantled those barriers, you know, in so many ways. Just acknowledging your existence. By acknowledging your existence, you're able to communicate to your constituencies. And we have many gatherings together, we sit down, talking. And what's interesting is that when you were in the room, we heard real issues. Your questions were questions on real issues. You weren't asking me, did I eat fish or not? You know, you weren't asking me some silly question. You were focused on real issues. And so it turned out to be a benefit for us. And so as we leave this amazing 4 years, you know, of course anyone wants to, you know, finish the job, but what we have done in 4 years is remarkable. That story was never told. It was told through many of your writings, but we turned the city around. I inherited a city that was dealing with real crime, gun violence, illegal vehicles off our streets, homeless, people were sleeping in tents and camps. We should show people some of those pictures of all those neighborhoods. People really need to see what this city looked like, because many of us normalize dysfunctionality of the city. And now that it's functioning, you know, you didn't realize what it was back then. And you are able to have these intellectual conversations because you're safe. We took 25,000 illegal guns off the street. Our subway system is the safest in recorded history. You know, we took 133,000 illegal cars, dirt bikes, scooters. Remember in June and July of 2020 and 21, you couldn't even go to sleep. You were hearing fireworks all over the city. You thought you were in a war-torn zone. You hear that in 22, 23, 24, and 25. We brought order to the city, and your constituents benefited from that. We did flag raises in your countries that were never raised before down at Bowling Green. We hosted your different countries and cultures. We hosted them at Gracie Mansion. Many of them never were in Gracie Mansion before. We had I don't even know how many roundtables we've had of all the different groups in this city. And we stood up for you. We stood up when people attacked our Muslim brothers and sisters. We stood up when Asian violence was pervasive in this city. We stood up when our Sikh brothers and sisters were being attacked. We stood up when our Jewish brothers and sisters were being attacked. There was a consistency of what I did as the mayor of the city of New York. And as we conclude these 4 years, someone asked me just earlier, how I could define what the next level for me is just 3 letters. Fun. 40 years I've been doing this. 40 years I've been having people tell me about their leaks their street repairs, their child not in school. For 40 years, I've filled the problems of New Yorkers. And finally, I could smoke a cigar, drink a single malt scotch, and won't have to worry about anyone nagging and bothering me. And I cannot wait until January 1st, where I'm just Joe Citizen, I'm back to traveling again, back to enjoying life. I'm so looking forward to just hanging out with my family, hanging out with my son, and so I'm looking forward to it. But y'all well done, and I'll open the field up to any questions that you have.
Awesome, so we have quite a few reporters here. We're gonna take one question for each reporter, and then we'll see if we have time for follow-ups.
JR.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. How are you? I am well. Happy holidays, everyone. J.R. Giddings from the Reset Talk Show. Mayor Adams, you warned of darker days ahead with Mayor-elect Mamdani. Could you expound on that a little bit more?
Yeah, there are outside and inside politics. Every day New Yorker gets up and they just, New Yorkers are simple. They want to get to their place safe. They want their children to be educated. They want to be gainfully employed. And they just want to live a comfortable life. But how do you get there? What New Yorkers don't know, they don't know the DSA. They don't know this group that is closely aligned with Zoran, and their policies, if he were to follow them, are destructive to the quality of life of our city. You can't decriminalize prostitution. We did too much work to get these young boys and girls off the streets, selling their bodies, being victimized, sex trafficking. This is a real threat that exists in our city and in our country. You can't release 3,000 inmates from Rikers Island. They're gonna go back to the communities that they preyed on. You know how much work you gotta do to get on Rikers Island? I mean, you're not jumping the turnstile and ending up on Rikers Island. Those are some of the most dangerous people who have not been able to function within our city, and they need corrective behavior. Particularly 51% of them have mental health issues, 18% severe mental health issues, and you just put them back into the community, that's a problem. You can't tax people based on their ethnicity. That's what we're going through right now. My building, the African American community, the Asian community, the Hispanic community, we were being taxed unfairly in our property taxes. And so we're saying we're gonna now tax white communities. That's wrong. That's wrong. And so when you look at some of the policies that are coming out of DSA, and he stated he's going to embrace their agenda, that's problematic. It's problematic. And you can't turn over our school system to a Board of Education. Again, the UFT can't control our school system. The mayor should be in charge of the school system with the PEP. And when you start dismantling these programs and these actions, and you can't put encampments back on our street. Go look at these cities. This is not rocket science. January, when I became the mayor, I went into the streets and visited the encampments. And what did I see? Human waste, stale food, drug paraphernalia, schizophrenic behavior, bipolar. We can't go backwards. That's what is troubling to me. If he gets in and say, okay, that sounded good what I was campaigning on, but now I have to run the city, then you know what, we'll navigate through it. There'll be some policies we agree and disagree with, but what they are saying they want to do is harmful for the city of New York.
Thank you.
Jacob?
Jacob, what's going on?
You've spoken about your legacy. After 4 years, there's rising anti-Semitism and challenges with how more younger people view Israel. My question is, if you look back at your legacy, how would you define that in trying to curb anti-Semitism and your relationship with Israel?
Well, number one, we have a decrease in anti-Semitism in the city. The numbers have gone down, and I would like to believe what we've done from the Office to Combat Anti-Semitism to the clear IRA definition to making sure what we do in our schools, we don't radicalize our young people, to continue to do our breaking breads, building bonds, where we brought all groups together to deal with hate in general, but specifically anti-Semitism. and it's a lot of work because we've normalized anti-Semitism in the city and in this country, and it's Jews today, African Americans tomorrow. The first office to combat hate was for African Americans. A lot of people don't realize that. That was the first office to do so. You can't be 10% of the population and 51% of the hate crime. That's just wrong. And so I think that the next administration must be extremely clear in their position around hate in general, but anti-Semitism. You can't stand in front of a synagogue and call for a globalized intifada. You can't stand in front of a synagogue and say Hitler was right. You just can't do these things. And the mayor can't be, slight. He has to be very clear. This is not acceptable. And all of those who are part of his team and supporters, he needs to tell them, listen, you can't support me and do disruptive behavior in the city. And so we did our job, and I'm hoping that he looks at some of the stuff we've done and embrace or come up with other ways of ensuring that we don't have any of our residents feeling fearful in this city. And what's happening to Jewish human beings, not only New Yorkers, not only Americans, what's happening to Jewish people on the globe is wrong. And now, hey, I don't like Netanyahu. Well, what the heck that got to do with standing in front of a synagogue? What does that got to do with it? Israel should not be a Jewish state. Yeah, really? Go to the Vatican. That's a Catholic country. Go to Tibet. That's a monk country. Go to Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Oman. I visit these countries, folks. Those are Muslim countries. So you can't say you can't have a Jewish state, but you could have a state for any other group. Come on, we got to be honest. This is not about Israel. This is about a hate for Jewish people. And we have to be honest with that, just as we hated other groups. We had anti-Chinese immigration laws in this country at one time because we wanted to stop the Chinese immigration. We had anti-black laws in this country. This country and this globe is known to hate groups, and right now, what is happening to Jewish human beings is just wrong.
Monica?
Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Monica,
Monica Adamski, Polish Radio Rampa.
how are you?
Mr. Mayor, I'm good, thank you. So I want to ask you, what actions have you already taken or are you planning to take within the next weeks to ensure that some accomplishments of yours, like safety measures or taking off homeless encampments from the streets, will stay in place? Are you even thinking about it? Because you issued some executive orders about other things. Are you planning to do anything about this? And the second question, about this Office of Ethnic and Community Media. Have you spoken to the transition team already? Is there a person of contact already for us to also know that this is gonna remain after a new mayor comes in?
Someone saw me the other day, and they said, when you first got elected, I text you, and I was surprised that you returned my text. They said no mayor returns your text. Many of you have texted me, and you return my text. You guys gonna miss me. Don't think you are going to be speaking directly to mayors in the future. You're so used to being easily accessed, and so we can tell them that they need this, and then it could revert back to, there's no room for you in room 9. Some people had several desks in room 9, but you were not allowed in. So we're going to suggest how important this is, this body is. We're going to suggest that he holds these roundtables, but he has to make that determination. Now, when it comes down to protecting my legacy, there are things we can do and things they can't. I'm blown away that people are saying, why are you still adding people to the boards? Why are you still making suggestions? I'm mayor to the 31st. One of the biggest arguments that the far left and liberals had is that Obama put in place his appointments for the Supreme Court, and they didn't take it up. Do you know we put about 14 people in front of the city council for months, and they have not taken them up. And they call some of them and say, if you come in front of us in our committee, we're gonna vote you down anyway. I mean, this undemocratic hypocrisy. And so those that are within my span of control, like the Rent Guidelines Board, I think it's important that rents should be determined based on what the law says, based on the economics. We're gonna fill that board. But do you know a lot of the board positions are not my appointees? The Campaign Finance Board, who has been hard on me, those are not my appointees. COIB, those are not my appointees. Those are Bill de Blasio's appointees. And so for people to say, well, Eric, you should not be doing appointments right now, it's like, what is this double standard? You know, it's one rule. I'm the mayor to December 31st, and I'm going to carry out that function until December 31st.
Ariana?
How you doing?
What's happening? How are you?
I'm good.
Good. You went to Penn State?
Huh?
You went to Penn State?
My dad's sweater.
Oh.
He played football. I have 2 crowdsourced questions for you.
To which type of question?
Straight from Brooklyn community members, all
Okay.
heads if you will. They
Mhm.
wanted to ask you very specific questions.
Mhm.
And I figured in the interest of fairness, I should
Sound like a plan.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so New York City's history, right? 400 years, 2 Black American men have led the city.
Yeah.
And both of you guys have been one term.
Mhm.
Now, how do you feel that means for a supposedly very progressive city? That's my first question. And our second question, January, skipping MLK Day to attend the president's inauguration in DC.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, Black voters specifically, I feel like they was riding with you. They didn't give a damn about indictments or charges,
Mhm.
none of that, up until that point. Specifically is what I heard over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if you ever regret that decision, or would you do it differently? If you had to?
Yeah, well, first, the two terms. I've said this over and over again. It doesn't matter if it's 1 term, if it's 2 terms, if it's 3 terms. What do you do during those terms? And history is going to show that the records we broke and what we did for working class people is just amazing. And that's what history is going to show. Skipping MLK to go to Washington, D.C. is, that just doesn't make any sense to me. MLK, Dr. King was not a Brooklyn leader, he was a national leader. The opportunity to sit down and speak with the President of the United States about issues that was impacting the city is part of what I was supposed to do. And Black folks didn't abandon me because well, first of all, let me say this way. If Black folks abandoned me because I went to an event in DC, not MLK, then they were never with me. They were never with me. Because I'm not a part-time friend. If they weren't with me based on what I did in 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care, the leading voice about ending police brutality, if they weren't with me for dropping unemployment by 27% in the Black community, $24 billion went to MWE, if they weren't with me after doing free high-speed broadband in Niger with the overwhelming number of tenants of Black and brown, of moving 24,000 illegal guns off our streets where the victims of those shooters were Black and brown, if they weren't with me for what I have done in small businesses and all that other stuff, but if they abandoned me because I went to Washington, then they were never with me. And they need to be with whoever they think could do the job best. I did very well. First African American to be a deputy mayor, to be a first deputy mayor in the history of the city. First African American to be a police commissioner. First Indian American to be a deputy mayor. First Filipino American to be a deputy mayor. I could go through all the lists that I've done for people of color. And if they say, well, you went to Washington instead of a Dr. King celebration, so now we're going to leave me, my mother called that a fair weather friend. And I don't need fair weather friends. I need real friends. And real friends were with me for these 4 years that I were in office.
David?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, what's happening? How are you?
Let's move this camera back. I'm just going to pull up my question if you'll give me a moment. So circling back to the earlier question about the Office of Anti-Semitism and all that stuff. This morning you called on Mamdani not to dismantle that office. The mayor-elect has pledged to boost funding for the Office for Prevention of Hate Crimes by 800%. And that same office experienced cuts under your tenure from 7 staffers to 3, and its work in tracking hate crimes has diminished. Why would support for the office you established be the way to go address anti-Semitism instead of what he plans to do? And what has that office accomplished since you established it earlier this year?
Well, I think, first of all, every cut that we had to do, hey folks, we have a $115 billion budget, right? 30 billion of that is really roughly discretionary. 30 billion out of 115. The rest of it goes to paving our streets, keeping our city safe, and all that good stuff. Out of that 30 billion, we lost 8 billion through the migrants and asylum seekers. We had to cut everywhere. We had to be smart about balancing the budget by law. That's not the budget I wanted, you know? Out of nowhere, I woke up to an $8 billion hole in the budget. Although I have the highest reserve in the history of the city, and although I was able to add very substantial program for working class people. So yes, there were places that we had to trim down. We had to do what we call finding efficiencies inside the areas. We had to. We were at the point of food, shelter, clothing, as Maslow's hierarchy of needs said. And there was places that we didn't want to, we would rather not cut. We would rather use that $8 billion to go after chronically absent children, $1 billion to go after our seniors, another $1 billion to do this, another $100 million to do that. We would love to do that, but that's not the reality when you're the mayor of the city of New York. And everywhere we cut, there was a whole line of people saying, don't do that, don't do that. And so yes, we would have loved to put another 30 million inside the office to combat hate crime, because that's what we believed in. So we found creative ways to do it that didn't take money, such as breaking bread, building bonds. We did thousands of dinners across the city with different ethnic groups would sit down together and figure out how to stop the hatred we see in the city. We put in place hidden voices in the Department of Education to educate our young people about the benefits of all groups, in general, specifically our Asian population. We went into the streets and did interfaith gatherings with other groups. So what we took the money from, I doubled down on my participation and had other parts of the administration to say, we may not be able to put the money here, but let's do our sweat equity and go and deal with the issue of hate in our city.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
What's up? How are you?
I'm good, thank you so much.
Good, good. You
Thank
could
you
do a
very-
documentary on me. You know that? You've been around me so much.
Yeah, thank you. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for everything you have done for the ethnic and community media for the last 4 years in the City Hall. Highly appreciated. So, everybody wants to know after December 31st, what next? Should we find you as Ambassador Adams or Secretary Adams, or what role you are looking for in the days to come?
Yeah, you never say never to anything, but I don't have a desire to stay in public life right now. You know, after 40 years of being progged and scrutinized and picked at and poked at, I want some downtime. I want to rejuvenate myself, and so I don't have a desire to be in public life. A couple of months ago, I had one dream job in front of me. Since then, I have 4 dream jobs that have been offered to me. There are things that I love, and I'm going to be able to do those things. I'm really happy about, you know, like I said, I want to write a book. I'm going back to school. I miss being in school a lot. And I want to be around other people and think and debate. I have some business opportunities that have been offered to me. You know, I cannot say it any more eloquent than what my son said. I'm good.
Jason?
Jason, what's happening?
Good to see you again. I
Yes.
must say you were very adamant about not being in public life after December 31st. So what issue do you feel remains most unresolved at the end of your term?
Most resolved.
Unresolved.
Unresolved. We did an announcement last week that I just think is such an important announcement. It's really probably impactful to many of you, and that is communication. We have to become a more language-friendly city. You know, one of the notes I took as I move around the city is that if you don't speak English, you really don't get access to your fair share of governmental services. People, if you're a Russian speaker, you know, you're really reluctant to go into the Department of Building, you're reluctant to even want to go to your school. It's humiliating, you know, when people don't have the patience to communicate with you in the language that you deserve. We made an announcement of using technology, ChatGPT, Google Translate, and others. These devices are working so well. I've been able to engage in conversations with people who don't speak English at all, almost 140 different languages, communicating in the city. We need to break down that barrier. You pay the same taxes. If you speak Mandarin, you pay the same taxes of every other New Yorker, and your taxes you deserve those goods and services. You should be able to walk in and get what you deserve. If you speak Urdu, same thing. If you speak Spanish, if you speak any language. And I just think we need to do a better job in doing that. A language-friendly city where people are comfortable leaving their house, knowing when they walk into a governmental agency, they can communicate and get the services that they deserve. That is a huge thing for me that I want to accomplish. And we want to continue to bring down crime. You know, we've done a great job. Crime is at their lowest levels, but one crime is a crime too many. And we want to do more on doing so. And then we have to finish what we've done around mental health issues. We got parts of involuntary removal done in Albany, but we now want to look at those who are addicted to serious drugs. They can't take care of themselves, and we need to make sure they get the care that they deserve. So those are just some of the top line issues that I figure hopefully the next administration will continue.
We're gonna go over here, Soraya.
You know, I'm gonna show you a picture of my sister. You look just like my sister. You know that?
You told me that before.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you the picture.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will add.
I just want to send me a picture of Faye. Yeah. You gotta see this picture.
Okay.
I have a question to Maxim.
Yes, I'm sorry.
He was talking about your future plan. I just want to know if you do like plan to run again for New York mayor in the future. And also I have another question. Like,
You said if I plan to, I didn't get to run for mayor again?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And also, what do you wish you had time more to finish, and that you really like wish the next mayor will continue on?
You gotta repeat, I didn't hear you.
What do you want to what you wish you could finish, and hope the next mayor continues?
Oh, that was the question that I just said.
Yeah.
Language, safer city, those are important issues for me. You know, we always can be safer. We're the safest big city in America, but we always can be safer. And I want to, I would like to see us continually drive down crime. We had 1 week where we had no homicide, I think, for 12 days. 12 days of no homicides in the city. That is what I like, you know, for us to continue that. Running for mayor.
That tied for the highest in the longest stretch in the history of the city.
Right, we have broken so many records. Would I ever run for mayor again? You never say never, but I don't. There's no desire to do so. But you never say never. You know, anyone that says never, you know, man makes plans and God laughs. You know, I had a plan B. What I'm getting ready to do now, it was God's plan A, and God has never gotten it wrong before. He's not going to get it wrong this time. So. Whatever happened. I turn on my GPS every morning, my God position and satellite. He handles it. You know that?
Terry?
Okay, hi.
How are you doing,
I'm
Faye?
great, everybody.
Call you like my sister.
Terry Wisdom, Harlem Network News, and my question is a little more direct than what your question was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there something in place that's going to preserve ethnic media, or are we an option? And also, in these few days that you have left,
Yes.
can you see about putting some funding and some grant money in place for ethnic media, particularly for black media, which is really suffering gravely. The media is experiencing the same economic and cultural disparities and inequities, and mainstream media really doesn't cover our stories, or if they do. And so we're having a hard time getting the message out to the people. So if you can address that.
It is, and you know, I'm going to speak, I'm glad you raised that. I'm going to speak with, we did the November plan.
Yep.
Yeah, shit. We should have looked into how to baseline some of this stuff, you know. JR, what do we spend? What do we spend annually on the ethnic advertising?
So annually this year, it was $32 million that was spent on advertising.
Okay.
And over $7 million of that went directly to ethnic and community media.
Got it. Was there any baseline funding for ethnic media?
There was not baseline funding, but what we did is adjust the way that every city agency sees ethnic media.
Mm-hmm.
We asked the question, instead of who do you need to add, it was who do you not need to speak to.
Right.
So
right.
many different campaigns now include as many ethnic and community media, almost all of our directory in them. And also your campaign for citywide branding
Mm-hmm.
has been translated into, I believe, 10 languages
Mm-hmm.
and currently running in many ethnic and community media outlets.
Right. What I tried to do, and I wasn't able to finish, I didn't like the idea of each agency managing the budget, the media budget, because they had the people they were used to dealing with. They had their own agenda. I remember DOHMH did an advertisement around COVID in Yiddish in Flushing. No one spoke Yiddish in Flushing, you know. And so we were trying to create, all of this goes through one office, and it just became a real battle. If I had more time, going back to the question of what would you have liked to finish, I would have taken that money out of these agencies, and it should have been centralized through JD to make sure that it was fairly distributed. We had a problem with a vendor when we first came in office. He was overcharging. He was doing things that was not correct. I would have loved to have seen us take more control. I'm gonna find out from Jock, Jock is our OMB director. Are there any options, you know?
Okay, because I think it's
Yeah,
extremely
I agree with you.
important, and especially given what mainstream media is reporting and the lack of civics and things, people really, you know, do not know what's happening. And
I agree with you.
not my other question, but all eyes on District 5 in Harlem and what's happening in our schools. Can
What's
we get?
What's happening in District 5?
We need some computers.
Okay.
The children do not have computers to take home,
Mhm.
and a lot of them don't have computers at home.
Mhm.
So it's a pretty serious problem. We need support in discipline. We need real gym classes where they go in and sit on the spot, not a free-for-all. We're dealing with the language issues because we have, people that are English as a new language, which they don't have to speak another language, and we have people that are off of the radar. Bambara, Wolof, that's not in Google Translator. I do have a media partner, AskToya.com, that if you talk to it in 300 languages, it'll talk back to you. So some of that can resolve, but with whatever is going on in the school system, there we have separate but not equal education. And I just actually did an interview with David Banks and saying, okay, it's separate, but that's okay. But we're not getting the equal
Right.
education, and it's a problem. And people are walking around like it's okay,
Yeah.
and it's not.
Yeah,
So we need to.
And that's
push on that.
understandable, and I think that keeping your voice raised in the next administration to address these issues, there's a lot of issues. You leave in 4 years, there's so many issues and the complexity of running the city. Then you have those new issues like COVID and migrants and asylum seekers and others that come up.
And
that
they
you
all
don't
came to
expect.
District 5. They were coming from the
Yeah.
Roosevelt Hotel
Uh-huh.
and taking a bus uptown
Yeah.
in our schools that are already Stratton.
Yeah, so that's something you should raise in the incoming administration.
We're gonna go with Ben.
What's happening?
Great. One of the recurring themes that we've heard here, like in this ethnic roundtables, is that we have to be safe and feel safe.
That's right.
Something that the mayor has stressed often.
Mhm.
We are safer because the crime rates are coming down.
Yes.
Do you feel that the citizens of New York feel safer? And going forward with the mayor-elect's plans to do different changes in the policing of the city, do you think people will feel safer or not?
Well, I think that it's a combination of things. It takes a while before you go from what you felt to what you're feeling. If you felt for many years that you were unsafe, it takes a while before you realize that, hey, I rode this whole train ride and nobody harassed me. That's what we were getting to, and I think that he's going to benefit from the work that we've done, that people are starting to feel safer. They're out. Our nightlife, our entertainment industry is thriving. Our tourism numbers are high. When you get these cases of someone stabbing an innocent mother while she's in Macy's, I mean, it hurts. It hurts how people, their perception, because perception is reality. And we try to do the omnipresence, invisible presence of police officers. We try to make sure that our officers are out on foot patrol. And so we have to continue doing that to make people feel safe, to match the numbers actually being safe. But they go hand in hand. You should feel safe and you should be safe.
Moses?
Hi, Mayor. How are you?
What's happening? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I have two quick things. I wanted to ask you about the weekly press conferences that you
The which way?
The weekly press conferences.
Yes.
That you media. You stopped doing that roughly around this summer.
Mhm.
Was there a definitive reason for you stepping away from those meetings? A lot of critics point to either the media covering you didn't really like that, or you not wanting to talk about your reelection campaign.
I'm sorry, we're doing.
You're saying asking about off topics. I'll tell you the exact reason why we stopped doing them, because we were doing press questions at press conferences at first, and then reporters complained that we were doing the once a week, so we went back to what they asked for, and they complained about us stopping that. So no matter what, we got complaints from reporters. So we tried to take as many questions as possible, as often as possible.
Yeah, and I think that, I don't think people fully understood the level of improper coverage this administration received. And particularly in the print media.
Legacy.
Legacy, is it called legacy?
Yeah.
Legacy media.
Not the people in this room we're talking about.
Yeah. One or two have been unfair too in this room. People came in their personal agenda, and it was just mean. And you could cover. Okay, we're gonna cover what you've done, but we're also gonna beat you up on stuff. But it became a point that we're just not gonna cover what you've done. I mean, I don't even know what the New York Times is. When you read the stories, it was like, did this mayor do anything? Like, how do you have records of more housing, more jobs, AA bond ratings, decreasing crime, children are outpacing the state in reading and math, dropping unemployment, universal after-school program. I mean, how do you have all of this stuff? And every time we go to a town hall meeting, a community meeting, and we share what we've done, people say, wait a minute, we didn't know that. Like, I mean, how did that happen? And so, but everybody knows that I was indicted. Everybody knows that the charges were dropped. They created ways of saying that. Everybody knows anything negative about this city. So this city is in two phases. This city is a city of thumbs up or middle finger. All they showed was the middle finger. There was some thumbs up moments, folks. You can't do what we've done and not have thumbs up moments. Why not report the thumbs up moment as you report the middle finger? And so, it was like, man, why am I sitting in this room with you guys, man? I'm not wasting my time anymore talking to y'all in these open press
Do you have any advice for Mamdani regarding press?
Ignore the noise.
No.
You gotta ignore the noise. And they're gonna be probably kinder to him because many of them are DSA members, far lefties. So they may be kinder to him because he's gonna carry out the DSA agenda. Some of them are card-carrying DSA members, so he's not gonna have a hard time. I'm not a DSA member. I don't believe in decriminalizing prostitution. I don't believe in letting 3,000 people out of jail. I don't believe running millionaires out of our city is the right thing to do. I don't believe tax people because of their ethnicity. So, I was never one of their favorite child. I'm not DSA. I'm ERIC.
Right.
Your dad play football?
He did.
What position did he play?
He was a running back.
Was he?
Yeah, he made it, what's the fancy title for high school when he went to Tilden?
He went to Tilden?
He went to Tilden.
Is he still with us?
Yes, he is.
Huh?
Still a fan of yours.
What up?
Yes.
Do it. Next question.
Yeah. Hey, look, I want you to see this picture. Give me the picture. I want you to see.
I'm gonna see it.
I want you to see. I want you to see the picture.
Thank you. Oh, okay. I see a little.
Go ahead.
So I don't think we're related, but.
We were tight on time, so we want to
Okay. So just a local community question
Yes.
about Roosevelt Island. When we first began these roundtables, I asked you about whether or not the city of New York would extend the ground lease with the state for Roosevelt Island.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, you said it's a long time away. It's something our administration may not be thinking about. Well, it turns out last month you guys did extend the Roosevelt Island ground lease for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, has that lease actually been executed yet? And as part of the plan, there is supposed to be 2 new residential developments on Roosevelt Island.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to have some portion of affordable housing.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Roosevelt Island is becoming increasingly unaffordable for people that really built it, and a lot of people have to leave because of that. So I'm just wondering what efforts are going to be made to make sure that any future development will be affordable for those people that actually built Roosevelt Island into what it is now.
One of the best kept secrets in the city, Roosevelt Island. And I know our team is meeting to do just that. And I think you were one of the people who raised that, years ago. And it's something that we would love to make great inroads before we depart in 13, 20 days? How many days I got left?
16.
16? We would like to make some strides in that, but it's definitely going to be something that the next administration is going to have to take up, and we're leaving them information in our transition. And I think that any new development there must have affordable, a serious affordable housing component, if not 100%, at least 50%. I don't think the 20% or the 30% is what's needed. We have to make sure that the island remains affordable.
Do you know, has it been signed yet, though, or will it be signed before the end of your administration?
I'm hoping so. The legal team, Corp Counsel, and our legal team are now working on it, so hopefully so. Go ahead. Hold on, she sits right next to you. Let me go with you. How about that?
I have a hyperlocal question about Riverdale and the Bronx. So
Okay.
Riverdale is one of a few special natural area districts in the city. Our community board has recorded several instances of the Department of Buildings failing to enforce SNAD violations. Were you aware of those violations, and was SNAD a priority in your housing legislation?
Now, which violations are those? You said, what type of
SNAD,
violation?
like building developments.
Okay. And so what is exactly happening? I'm not.
Where?
No, what is happening? They're not, the new development that they're doing there?
Yes,
They're
we're
in
not
violation?
adhering to SNAD.
Okay. No, that has not been on my radar.
Okay.
But we'll look into it. We try to make sure every community, we comply with the building codes. And you're saying they're building either higher or more of the building codes?
I'm saying what?
Are you saying that they're building higher or they're expanding, what are they doing?
They're building where they're not supposed to be building.
Building in locations they're not supposed to be building.
Correct.
Okay, so we'd like to find out more, okay?
Okay.
You know.
Do you want some addresses?
Yes, can you?
Right now?
Yeah, no, right there, right there.
Okay,
All right,
sure.
okay?
But you were not aware?
No, I wasn't.
Was SNAD a priority in your housing legislation?
Well, I don't think it's the point of being priority or not. You know, our goal was to build housing, and we've done that. Are there parts of housing that needs to be corrected? Yes. And now that you're bringing it to my attention, we'll look into it. So it doesn't mean that HBD, doesn't mean that DOB is not aware of that the commission's not aware of that. They may quite well. Everything doesn't get to my desk, but we'll find out, okay?
Well, in the recent ballot proposals, the Charter Revision Commission said that things like SNAD were prohibiting development.
Was stopping development from taking place?
In wealthier neighborhoods.
Okay, well, we don't want to do that. Every neighborhood, that's why the city of Yes was passed, that every neighborhood is going to have to do their share on affordable housing. That's why we passed the city of Yes. But why don't you give us those locations, and my team will look into it, okay?
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Mhm.
I just wanted to ask a follow-up question on your comments yesterday about the attack in Bonnet Beach. You know, there's still many Jewish New Yorkers who are afraid to go to the dozens of public menorah lightings that are going on each night for the next week. I know there's been a surge of protection around some of those, but what can you say to these New Yorkers? Is it better to stay home and stay safe, or should they go to these lightings? And also, can you provide us a little more detail about what the threat profile is against Jewish institutions regarding terrorism?
I didn't hear the last part.
Threat profile.
The what?
Terrorist threat profile.
The level of threat against Jewish institutions.
Yeah, we're gonna do our job. After October 7th, people said that we should not have the Israeli Day Parade. We did. We provide the protection to make sure that people are able to celebrate their heritage without the threats of violence. I spoke with the commissioner. She deployed personnel at these public menorah lightings to make sure we can have a visible omnipresence of police officers. We're gonna do our job. Our job is to keep New Yorkers safe. I don't want New Yorkers staying home out of fear. We can't surrender to fear. We are going to make sure New Yorkers are safe, and I would encourage people to go out and celebrate their heritage, and celebrate their culture, and celebrate their faith. You know, I don't think they should abandon the desire to do so. It's extremely alarming and disappointing what happened, not only in Sydney, but also what happened in Brown University. It wasn't connected to anti-Semitism, but it was just awful. Children should not have to be on college campuses going through drills when they hear gunshots. And so we're going to do our job here in the city.
If I could just add to that, I'm very proud to work for this administration for a number of reasons, but as the highest ranking appointed Jewish official in the Mayor administration, I'm really proud that I work for an administration that has always made sure that we can practice our faith, whatever faith we have in the city. And if you look at what happened in Australia, the local Jewish organizations there right now are saying Jewish businesses should shut down. People should stop going to temple. Mayor Adams has never said that. Instead, he's been there to defend the community and make sure that they're safe. Like he gave the example of the Israeli Day Parade. Whether it's the Jewish community or any other community under attack, I'm sure he would do the exact same thing if the Asian community was under attack, the Muslim community, the LGBTQ plus community. And so I'm just very proud that I work in a administration and I live in a city that defends our religion.
Julie?
How are you? I was going in and out. Did you get the whole
Yeah,
question?
public safety for Chinese community here
Yes.
in New York City. They keep getting bomb threats based off of what's going on back in China with the Falun Gong. They're being persecuted.
The NYPD never brought that there are some serious credible threats to the Chinese community based on what's happened in China. There are some specific acts of threats that you are aware of. I would love to connect you with our intelligence division because all of those threats are investigated to the fullest. In none of our briefings has it come up that there are threats to the Chinese community based on what's taking place in China. You know, but I will connect you with the intelligence division. You can share whatever information privately that you're aware of.
Human rights and reliable traditional Chinese culture, because Chinese culture was destroyed by Communist Party, especially Chinese culture revolution. And but we also we very support the NYC government, community event and coverage also,
The community events that you've done for the Chinese community.
Yes.
She's very thankful and.
No, thank you.
Okay.
We also need support from NYC government to give us more advertising because we didn't get more advertising recently years. And I know the budget limited, but I saw some Chinese Chinese media got lots of advertising because I know some Chinese media is controlled by Communist Party and also as a foreign agent by federal level government. So hopefully we can get.
We'll talk to you directly about that after the meeting, but we can talk about advertising.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank
Jennifer,
you.
we only have time for one more question. We're running tight. So Jennifer.
Hi.
What's
How
happening?
you doing? Well, first, I just want to say thank you. This experience has been really great for me, and I really appreciated just watching your resilience throughout, your campaign and just throughout this time. And I've learned a lot about from you with that, as well as your cultural diplomacy. So thank you for that. What I was wondering is, I have two questions, and I'll be quick. The first one is, I know that within the Italian community, when I first came, I was with Giornale Italo-Americano, the Italian American Museum, as well as Queen's Times. And one of the things that is a pretty big issue now is, as we know, with Columbus Day. So there was something sent over about the landmarks, that you were trying to get the Columbus statue and Columbus Circle to be a landmark. So I wanted to just know if there was any information, any updates on that, if that's been passed.
We moved to do it through parks. We can check to see the status on it and we can get back to you right away.
We thought it was important that the site was a landmark to prevent the removal of it.
Right.
I just respect what's important to people, and I know how much that statue meant to the Italian community.
Of course. And thank you. I saw what you did also at the Bull, just putting Arturo Modica as the person that created that work of art. So that was really important for the Italian community as well. So thank you. And then just briefly, I think this is sort of goes for maybe all of us. You've done so much for ethnic news and the ethnic community media in New York especially. I feel like being within the ethnic community, doing things like Breaking Bread and all these different shows, and just being really immersed within it. What do you feel are some of the things that you've learned that maybe create some of those barriers? Because a lot of times there is a lot more interconnection that you see in other countries when you come out, when you step outside of New York. And being that we are a melting pot, I just wonder from your knowledge, what are maybe some things that we can do, even within the ethnic community media here, to sort of be that leading voice for people going forward to, teach each other about, what we're doing. Like, I would love to learn more about, with Monica and like the Polish community and, bring people into the Italian community, and I think it's something I've done through my events and PR for years, but I just want to know your perspective on that.
That's a great question. Our thousands of dinners and Deputy Assistant Commissioner Knight, she just really took it under her wings, and getting people in the room. We need finding creative ways of just getting people in the room, of realizing we all want the same thing. And I've been really blessed moving around the city, not only the borough president, which was an extremely diverse borough, but being in different rooms. If it's a sukkah, if it's Kwanzaa, if it's any of the holiday, the Moon Festival. I've just been blessed by being in the room with all of these different groups, and I think it's a tragedy that people don't realize how just how wonderful it is to be in a city that is diverse as New York, and having you host gatherings and events to bring people together. We're doing a Hanukkah celebration tonight. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have people who are not Jewish that are going to be there. These events are very important, and finding these events bring us together. Food has an excellent lubricating value of breaking barriers. Bringing people in, even when you do those food festivals, different foods from different groups. We used to do the International Day of Friendship, a big parade in Borough Hall. That was great. We brought food, dress, people would come out with their attire. So I just think we have to be creative on how we bring people together.
Yeah.
So important.
Do you know much about the next candidate? Are they probably going to be as culturally interested as you've been? Because you've definitely taken it to another layer.
I hope so. Going down to the flag raisings, hosting events at Gracie Mansion, all of those things I think are important. And you can't fake loving people. People know if you do or you don't. There are many things I don't know about the future, but there's one thing I'm sure of. I'm gonna miss me.
Folks, I just want to let you all know, so tomorrow at 11 o'clock, we're going to be having our end of term press conference. We're going to be laying out a number of initiatives. We hope all of you will come. You'll all obviously get the invite, but we'll put it on the schedule tonight. So you all actually know before the legacy media knows. So please join us.
Is that here?